Hello, welcome to Inner Growth. This is Wendy Rodriguez, and welcome to my healing journey. I am super excited to get started and to speak on a numerous amount of hard topics and share my self-reflection throughout all the adversity I've faced. My intention is to create a community of like-minded people that empower one another to know their greatness and to discover their true strength and identity in this world. I am so grateful to have all of you watching and hungry for change. Thank you for your time. And remember, being free is exactly who you were meant to be. Many blessings. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Inner Growth. Healing is a journey. And I'm Wendy Rodriguez. And this is Addictions Part 2. I'm going to be speaking about my story with the energy healer and how amazing it is. So, what we left off was that I texted her. She said yes. There's miracles. Great. Awesome. So it took me about a week or two to actually go see her because I was like, no, I was talking to everybody, right? I was just like, no, I don't want to go to a witch. I don't want any witch stuff happening. I just don't want to deal with any spirits or anything crazy or weird, And so I was really, really reluctant until I just felt like what's to lose, right? I can go, and if I feel uncomfortable, I can walk out. Everybody, we always forget that we have that, right? We don't always have to just go and be committed to staying there for 6 hours. We could just be like, nah, not for me, and then just leave, right? So I went, I went to her. I was super open with everything. I feel like I'm a pretty open person with anything that's healing. You can talk to me about whatever you think, and I will be like, wow, that is super amazing. I will look into that, and I love it. I absorb a lot of things from people, and I really, really love hearing all these things. So after a couple of so I went with her the first time. It was super great. She opened my eyes to a lot of different things, and I went to her a couple of different times, and it wasn't until I think, because for the first couple times, she was just hearing my story, trying to write things down, everything like that. And then once we got to what the major depressor was the diagnosis, that's kind of where we started peeling away the levels of where we were going to start. So what we started was she started, and it was super great because I was super open to being told this real true stuff. So what she does, and I guess I can speak more about this during the next couple of videos, but an energy healer, she muscle tests you. So it's honestly your soul telling the person that's muscle testing you yes or no, yes or no. So she asks you yes or no questions, and your soul, you don't say anything, but your soul will tell her everything. I know that sounds silly or a little bit out there, but if you've ever looked up anything with muscle testing, honestly, you can put your hand out, and then it gets hard. If it's true, it's weaker. If it's not, and you can look into that. And so she muscle tested, and a lot of the things that were coming up were that I chose to be sick because of the fact that it gave me attention. And that was a hard pill to swallow. I think when she first gave me that thought, I said, no, I didn't. Why would I ever want to be sick? That is awful. You don't know anything. And then when I went home, I started thinking about it. And then I started looking more into it, and I was just wow. And then I went back to her, and then we spoke about it. And what she made me realize was what was being sick? What was it holding in my life? What was it keeping around? And at the time, it was everybody's attention was on me, right? I was getting people asking me are you okay? Is everything okay? Are you going to be fine? I was just getting attention left and right. And I didn't realize that that's what I was thriving off of. But I know that there was a couple instances where I know that a couple of people were getting probably annoyed with listening to the same story that I was telling, my sob story and this and that, but I was still trying to get that same validation, that same high as before. A good example, I think, of a comparison example would be some kids fake being sick to not go to school. But then some kids fake being sick just to be with their mom, or just to be with their dad, or just to be with that person being home. And like, you know, like you stay home and like you go run errands with your mom, or you stay home and you and your dad watch TV, and like you want that connection and you want that attention, that one-on-one with whoever it is that is special, you know, or significant in your life. And so I think that for a long, long time, if I sit here and like really, really think, it was something that I've always wanted was attention. And I see that now, even like in high school, and like obviously like high school kids just want to fit in and this and that, but I realized that I never wanted to fit in. I wanted to be different. And the reason I think I wanted to be different was that I stood out so that people gave me the attention, right? And I just see it now that it kept a lot of people around. If I want to be honest, I really truly think that it kept a lot of relationships like in my life that maybe should have been out of my life a long time ago, because of the fact that I kept wanting and needing and yearning the attention that I was getting, and I was thriving off it. And if I wasn't getting it, I would get angry. And I remember there were certain situations, and this is me being like fully transparent, and it's sad, but it was like my survival mechanism at that point. I remember in a couple different relationships where during the darkest times of my life with the diagnosis and with me just being so consumed, and I didn't feel myself. I wasn't myself. I wasn't a true person. I honestly was just like a sob person. But it honestly came to the way like that I became so dependent on the attention that I couldn't go longer than like maybe 2 hours without the attention. Or else I would say like, oh, my arteries hurt, or my heart hurts, or this and that. Like just being alone, like I would feel that scarcity again, and then I would need something to make me feel good, and the attention would make me feel good. And so I'd want that, you know, or I'd seek it somewhere else, or I'd seek, you know, this and this and this. And so I remember that once I felt like after a while, guys, that wasn't working. Being sick wasn't working for me. After a while, the same story I was telling, the same symptoms I was having, I mean, yeah, they were real to me, but people weren't responding the same way they first had responded, which in comparison would be the very first high or the very first, you know, drink that you had is not comparable to now. Like people with addictions tend to always try to get that same high that they had the first time. Like that's what they're after. They're thriving off that, right? And I think that that's what I was trying to create. I was still trying to create the same scenario, but 3-4 years later, this diagnosis, this sick Wendy, people were starting to forget that like I was, you know, diagnosed, because obviously like I don't have like a fucking broken arm. I don't have like a gashing like cut on my face. Like you can't see it outside of me. And that's, I think, what made it so much harder, is because I think I tried to like cry out more because people couldn't see what I was going through, but I was going through so much. So a part of that, I think, also like ties in with like mental health and all of that stuff. Like people don't realize by just looking at you like, oh, like you're, you know, like you're thin and you're pretty and you're this and that. Girl, you don't even know what I'm going through, like, you know? And so like I think that's why I kept trying to cry out more and more and more and more. And after a while, it wasn't working with the certain people that I was just going hard trying to like get them to feel bad for me and to just coddle me and tell me everything's gonna be okay, and over and over and over again. I honestly think it took them just being like, Wendy, I can't do that anymore. Like, you need to find it somewhere else. And as soon as I didn't get the attention, I cried. I remember I had like a whole breakdown where I was angry at the people that weren't giving me the attention. I was like, I'm sick. Like, I'm I'm fragile and this and that, and you're not giving me the attention, like you're a bad person, like not taking responsibility of myself and not realizing that I had literally torn down the people that were trying so hard to be there for me because I was just using them. I was just going and going. Like if I wasn't getting what I wanted from them, I just kept going and going and going. And after a while, like that is so exhausting for someone and it's so draining. And I realized I had drained the life out of pretty much everyone that was around. Anybody that I could, I would do it. But this, again, it wasn't like I intentionally was like, I'm gonna fuck you up. Like, it was all subconscious. And so when this lady ended up telling me this, all of these emotions, all of these thoughts came to my head, and I finally realized, I was like, fuck, I have been doing this for the last 4-ish years. Again, my reality was so true. I really was having the symptoms. I really was diagnosed. I really had the imbalance. I had all of that. That was real. That was super, super real. But what my thoughts and my emotions and my experience, I just kept trying to have that high of attention, and I was not getting it. And I just wasn't. And so I think that that's why this lady coming into my life when she did, was that the attention that I wanted wasn't working for me anymore. And so it was time for a change, you know? And so once I had that thought and I was able to take responsibility for doing those things to those people, unconsciously, subconsciously, not trying to be an awful person, but doing the best I can with the situation, I you know, like, I just felt I never gave myself the attention that I deserved within myself. And so then I kept seeking it from other people, draining the fuck out of other people to get what I wanted, but I wasn't fulfilled because I wasn't filled within myself. And I think that that's what it took for me to realize that that's why loving yourself and being as fulfilled as you possibly can within yourself and trusting that you have the power, that you are the true, like, pure version of yourself, and honestly that you don't need that attention to feel enough. You don't need that attention to feel like you matter, that you're valued, or you just are valued and you're loved and you're enough just by being you. And it makes me sad to think that I was that person, you know? But that's where I feel like I feel so blessed, the journey that I had to go through, because I don't think I would have snapped out of that attention hungry. I don't think I would have like dug deeper to think, why do I want this attention? Like, why is it so important to me? And why am I getting it this way? Why? You know, like, and so now I have a lot more awareness of that situation. And I feel like I've progressed so much more within this last year and a half to realize that attention isn't going to give me the validation and love and trust and harmony and compassion I need for myself. I know that that's something that I need to do on my own. And attention is honestly not what I'm looking for at all anymore. All I want to do now is know that is feel that I value and am valued within myself, and know that I don't need others to say that in order for me to feel that way. And that's a true practice, that it doesn't take, you know, a day or two to like really truly feel. It took me a year and a half, and I can truly say that I value myself, I love myself, and I just feel a lot more free that way, because I'm not doing harm on others and I'm not doing harm on myself by devaluing myself and saying that I can't do it, you know? And so that, I think, kind of concludes to why I feel like I became addicted to being sick. And then, just like any other addict, I definitely had my moments of like anxiety where I was like, fuck, like I need this high. Like, and it sounds weird, but you don't feel like it's like a drug. You don't feel like I'm just trying to get high. It's like, no, this is really like how I feel, and I'm really sad and I just need someone. And like, but really take a second to take like a step back and be like, am I addicted to attention? Am I addicted to insecurity? Am I addicted to fear? Am I addicted to anger? Am I addicted to all these different emotions? Shame. Like, people will do anything to continue to validate what's inside of them. If for 20 years you had the same experience, the same emotion of shame or insecurity, why, when you try to change, do you think it's so hard? Because your body, mind, and soul are now programmed in that same, I shouldn't say soul, because your soul knows the truth, but your mind and body are programmed in some certain way. So you will continue to find things in your life to be insecure about, to find things in your life to be shameful about, because you need that high. And so that is kind of that is actually what I believe with addictions and thoughts and emotions and anything that comes. Remember how I said in the last video that emotions, thoughts put together create your reality, right? And so if you continue to feel the same way, if you continue to think the same way, you'll continue to feel the same way, which will then not change anything around you. I want to talk a little bit further. There's one more video that I'd like to speak about. Dr. Joe Dispenza speaks a lot about this and addiction to negative emotions, and I think that that's just, he has a great video, and I will share it with you on addictions part 3, because I want to conclude everything and then just have you guys watch the video. But yes, it's gonna be awesome. I highly recommend you continue watching, and please share with me any comments that you might have. Thank you so much. And remember that you are unconditionally loved, unconditionally enough, and unconditionally valued just by being you. I love you all. Thank you.